Hi everyone, thank you for coming back. I'm Joanna, and today I'm going to talk about my very favorite Bible verse, and it's Isaiah 53 verse 5. And it says, "But he was wounded for our transgressions, and he was bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and by his stripes we are healed." Now this is where I always come into conflict with some others, because I believe that this is not just healing for physical illnesses, but also emotional illnesses. And that's what I want to talk about today. How submerged pain can show itself as physical illness, or it can manifest as physical illnesses. Okay, so the pain that is locked in, and I dealt with this a couple of videos ago about we cannot hear what we do not speak, and what it might look like when we don't speak it. Sometimes the pain that is repressed comes out as digestive disorders. It comes out sometimes, it expresses itself. And Mark Woolen says that pain that is submerged, buried, will find expression. It will find expression in something. And I'm here because I don't want your pain to find expression in some kind of physical illness. I want you to be able to find a safe place and a safe way to work through the experiences that you've had, so it will not find expression. Sometimes it finds expression in dysfunctional relationships. Sometimes it's in our romantic relationships, and it's in our parenting. Those two relationships are hardest hit. Sometimes the pain will find expression in depression and anxiety. It will find expression in sometimes autoimmune illnesses, digestive disorders, hypertension. We know about the link with childhood trauma and depression and anxiety and digestive disorders and those kind of things. But when we release and express our pain, it will not find those kind of expressions. Now, I know there's several things that stops us from being able to express our pain. And so we're not locking it in, we're not internalizing it. One is culture. And sometimes, not just cultures in where we're from, sometimes it's cultures in the group of people that we hang around, their view of counseling. Sometimes it's religion. And when I say religion, I don't mean God. I mean religion and our view of it. We feel that we should not we should not talk about the painful events that has happened. I cannot tell you if I was counting or had a penny for everybody who says this to me, "But Joanna, after I've been baptized, shouldn't it just disappear?" I tell you, I'd be rich. I would be. But it doesn't. I was having a conversation recently with someone that says, we were talking about patterns and how patterns repeat, and the relationship that you have, for example, with your dad, the lessons that you learn from him and the pattern that you have with him, chances are you're going to have that pattern in other relationships. And she said, "Well, doesn't God deal with that? When you get baptized, if you're a child of God, that shouldn't happen." But it does. So God's not at fault, but it does happen. So if we don't learn how to understand what is going on and find ways to deal with the problems and the things that we've encountered, it will find expression in physically or emotionally. And as I said, sometimes here's the relationship as well that takes a hit. Our relationship with God. And even though we're Christians and we're attending church and we're serving and we're doing lots of good things, there's so many people that still don't trust him. Because if we did, we wouldn't be having this kind of conversation. We would find a way to talk to him about it, to tell him how we feel, to tell him that we're angry. You know, in Psalms, we read I think it's Psalm 77, where David vent. And David has a way of telling God exactly how he felt. And yet he was a man after God's own heart. God didn't do anything to him. I believe that God can handle our anger and our questionings of where were you and why. He's not afraid of them. When we submerge it, somehow we think we're rescuing God from how we feel. Then we sometimes feel disloyal. But as I said, culture is one of the main reasons why we do not. Because around us, nobody else is doing it, and so we feel we shouldn't need it. I want to encourage you, if you have gone through some traumatic experiences in your childhood, because you've grown up doesn't mean it will disappear. Because you've become a Christian, it won't disappear that way either. You really have to go to work in order for it to disappear. You know, if you have a physical illness, you have to visit your doctor, because you recognize some things are going on, you get a diagnosis, you have a treatment plan that you work with your doctor to, or if you're whatever route that you've chosen to take, you really have to do something. And it's the same thing with the things that have happened early in life. They won't just disappear because you've grown up. And I can't go into detail in this video. We don't have enough time to talk about why and where it stays in the brain and what that's like and how we can have healing, because we were created to heal. But what I want you to want to leave you with today is the only way it doesn't hurt you is when you release it. Any other way, it's going to find expression in physical illnesses for you, and you will see it throughout the generations in your family. You probably have inherited some that is coming down, and I guarantee you that you will pass it on unless you do something. But we don't want that to happen. So I'm hoping that you'll find a space. With our ministry, we do retreats, we do conferences, depending on when you're listening to this. However, we have a retreat on the 31st of May to the 2nd of June, and we only have 10 places. Well, as of today, 9 places on that retreat. But we do retreats and we do conferences. We provide safe spaces for you to be able to process and for you to heal so that you can move on and the pain doesn't cause any more disruption. I always said, we've experienced it once, and there are ways for us to heal so it doesn't take over and control the rest of our lives. I hope you will give yourself permission to heal.